Good evening. I would like to call the business meeting of the Portland Board of Public Education to order. It is Tuesday, April 4th, 2017, and the Portland Board of Education is meeting at City Hall and Council chambers. May I please ask the superintendent to call the roll?
Ms. Seeliger?
Here.
Ms. Vendel?
Here.
Ms. Hatzenbuehler?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Ms. Thompson?
Here.
Ms. Morioni? Is absent. Mr. Eder?
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Presente.
Ms. Donato? Is absent. Ms. Farah? Ms. Hassan? Mr. Siegel? Here. And Chair Trevorrow?
Here. And Ms. Donato let me know that she is traveling to do some school visits and will not be home until late tonight, so she's absent. Ms. Hassan has SATs in the morning, so she's studying for that, and Ms. Morioni is attending her son's student presentation this evening. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the report of the chair this evening, I wanted to let people know once again that we are going to be following this evening's meeting with another extra workshop, which will be a workshop on the FY18 budget as it has been adopted by the Finance Committee. Also, I wanted to give an update on the elementary school facilities bond proposal. On Monday, the 27th, the council once again postponed action on the bond. And then last Thursday, Councilor Mavadonis and Mayor Strimling announced a compromise. You probably read in the news that they have agreed to put two proposals out to referendum, one being the $64 million bond proposal as proposed by the ad hoc committee, and the competing measure would be a $32 million proposal for two of the schools funded locally with two applied for state funding. No action has been taken yet by the council to do that. That was just an announcement that came out last week. But both proposals and a third proposal, which is Councilor Ray's proposal for $24 million in upgrades to the elementary schools, all three of those measures will be on the council's agenda tomorrow night. I also wanted to welcome back Board Member Thompson and Morioni, who attended the NSBA conference this last week in Denver, and we will be asking them to do a thorough report back at an upcoming meeting for that. So thank you for representing the board at that conference. And that concludes the chair's report. Moving on to report of the students. We actually don't have one tonight because Ms. Donato is away. Moving on to report of the superintendent.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to take this opportunity to extend our condolences to the family of Warren Blowers, Sr., a Portland Public Schools custodian who passed away suddenly on March 25th. Warren was hired in 2009, and Mr. Blowers was a dedicated employee who worked throughout the years at Longfellow Elementary School and our Paths Casco Bay High School. Staff, students, and family members remember him as cheerful, kind, and helpful. And we are grateful to Mr. Blowers for his dedication and service. He will be missed by the Portland Public Schools family. Many of you who've been to our meetings at Casco Bay remember after the meeting was done and we were tearing down, and you could always count on Warren to crack a joke, ask a question, and so he will be severely missed. Time is running out for parents to complete the annual parent survey. The survey takes only a few minutes to complete and provides the district with important information about how we are doing from the perspective of parents. The last day to complete the survey is April 14th, right before April vacation. So if you've not done so, please go online to our website and follow the easy links, or you can complete it online or in paper at your child's school. Please, I ask you to take this opportunity to give us feedback on what you'd like and what you would like to see improved about our schools. Speaking of school quality, the Portland Public Schools were recently ranked in the top 10 districts in the state of Maine by niche.com, which is a real estate service website that purports to look at multiple criteria in making its assessment. We're always glad to rate highly on these types of rankings, as they are often used by families making decisions to move to a specific area. And the best measure of a school's performance, however, is seeing it in action. So while this is a very helpful tool, I would urge anyone interested in learning more about our schools and their offerings to schedule a visit with a school principal. Our principals are proud of their schools and are more than happy to host interested parents and community members. As a member of the International Studies School Network, Deering High School offers tremendous opportunities in curriculum to help students investigate the world, recognize different perspectives, communicate ideas, and take action. And they have a very, very special opportunity for that this week. Stephen Schwartz, the United States' first ambassador to the African nation of Somalia in 25 years, will visit Maine this week, and Deering High School will be one of Ambassador Schwartz's stops. Ambassador Schwartz is conducting a nationwide tour visiting cities that have large Somali communities, and in that vein, he'll be at DHS on Wednesday, April 5th, so that's tomorrow, to talk to students in a student-moderated question and answer session. The session will run from 4:30 to 5:30 in the DHS auditorium, and I sure hope that you will be able to join us for this exciting opportunity. Now, I'd like to turn it over to our school leaders, our teacher leaders from Reiche, who are going to do a presentation on their school success plan. Christine Keegan, Ted Hummel, and Lori Babinski are here with us tonight. Just slide it. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm Chris Keegan. This is Lori Babinski and Ted Hummel, representing Reiche Community School. We know we have 13 and a half minutes to do this, so we want to briefly flow through our demographics, our school success plan, and then our focused school work. If you look at our demographics, the easiest thing to do is just think about your average classroom. We have 438 students, and that includes our off-site pre-kindergarten classes. There's an average of 20 students in a classroom. 74% of our kids receive free or reduced lunch. So for a classroom, that means 15 of our students in each classroom are students living in poverty. For a family of 4 to have free lunch, you're earning no more than $24,500 a year for a family of 4. 43% of our students are learning English as a second language, and of those 43%, 41% are IELD students. That means newcomers with no English. So in a typical classroom, you have 8 students learning English as a second language, and of those 3 have no English at all. 10.8% of our students have an IEP of some sort. 50% of our students in kindergarten attended preschool. And that is something we're actually kind of proud of, because it was 30% a couple of years ago. We've worked hard with community partners to bring that number up. Our population is quite transient. We have several different kinds of shelters in our catchment area, so about 30% And that could be some years 33, some years 36% of students come in or leave between September and June. We call that churning, and it's one of our challenges when we try to talk about data and learning. Right now, we have 43 students homeless. That is changing rapidly because we also just learned about another building, and several of our families in the next couple of days will become homeless. That's about 10% of our school, and that's a constantly moving target. This year we gained a 3-day-a-week social worker just to help manage that situation. And Lori's going to talk about our school success plan.
So I'm not going to read all the goals, but you see our 3 goals on the screen. You've heard about our demographics, and I want to talk a little bit about how we really monitor student progress and also teaching and learning. So we really look at 3 data points, and the first one is a typical, what percentage of our students are where they need to be for that particular grade level. So that question parents ask, are the students where they need to be at this time of the year? So that's the first thing we look at. The second thing, we have such a wide range of learners, from newcomers to it's just a huge range. So we also look more at a personalized goal. So we look at for each child where they begin the year, and then we look at, are they making a year's growth within that school year? So you'll see that graph in a minute. And then the other thing we really looked at, we were concerned that we had such a large percentage of our students that were in the bottom 20th percentile when we do the NWEA. So we're looking at that bottom core group. Are we starting to move them out of that bottom tier on NWEA? So this graph is showing the winter benchmark. So the testing period ended the end of February. And let me just explain a little bit about what you're seeing with the 2 different bars. So this is looking at Fontes and Pinnell reading data, which is a reading test that a teacher administers one-to-one, listening to a child read and looking at their errors and talking to them about comprehension. So the blue bar shows the percentage of kids that are where they should be in February of that particular grade level. So they're pretty well normed across the nation where kids should be. So for example, 0 stands for kindergarten. And you heard that half of our kids attend preschool, and at this point we have 40% of kids where they should be so that they would hit that mark at the end of the year, which is reading a level D. Then the second bar, the burgundy bar, is showing the percentage of students that are on their personalized growth target. Are they on target to make a year's growth? So for example, at kindergarten, if you come in knowing 0 letters, we would like to see you make it to a B by the end of the year. Versus if you come in knowing all of your alphabet, your letter ID, then we would like you to be at least reading level D at the end of the year. So it's personalized for each child. And this is a similar graph, but using the NWEA data. And the NWEA is a computerized test that adjusts for each child as they answer questions. The dark bar is looking at math. So the percentage of kids at grades 3, 4, and 5 that are projected to make a year's growth. And the next bar is reading, and then the last bar, the 70%, that is our growth target, is that our goal is for 70% of our students to make at least a year's growth each year. And then this is just addressing what I mentioned earlier about really looking at that bottom percent of students that were in the bottom 20th percentile in NWEA. So this is looking at our current 4th graders, and when they were in third grade, 55% were at the bottom, and that just really concerned us. We've moved that some, we've moved it 11%. Currently, as 4th graders, 44% are in that bottom percentile. So that's really one of our goals, to get them moving out of that bottom percentile.
Reiche School is identified as a focus school, and for what a focus school is, we were chosen by the state in 2013-2014 school year because we had a discrepancy between our highest achievers and our students identified with special education needs. The gap was too large, and we began the work in 2013. So basically, we brought a committee together that works once a month, and the goal around that is to reduce the gap and think about different ways that we can do research as a staff, how we can implement programs. And a lot of the work that we really focused on for the last 4 years is aligning our curriculum to the Common Core state standards. And really, what we're really looking on now is effectively using formative assessment, because that is the assessment that's happening in the moment, that we can see where the kids are right now, and that also can use the information that the teachers and the staff can really plan making decisions moving forward. Another piece that we're working really closely on is really refining the RTI process. RTI is called Response and Intervention. It's a method for us to really identify our struggling learners in literacy, math, and also social emotional learning. So with a lot of the work we've done is we've worked at the grade level teams to work on in-classroom RTI supports we can put in place, as well as more intensive pull-out interventions. One positive outcome that we have is when we began, our gap in English language arts was really large. And based on our current data, that currently we are in the group of the 3 elementary schools in Portland that have the lowest gap between the 2 groups. So that's a positive shift that we are making. In math, we're about right in the middle, so we're not seeing the growth that we like to see, but that's something that we're continuing to focus on. So some of the work that brought us there is the commitment of grade level teams to collaborate with special education teachers and ELL teachers, making time through the day and making sure that they are able to do the work that's important. And also having the ELL teachers collaborate and team teach in a general education setting. And basically, the RTI process has improved our effectiveness in identifying the students that are struggling and helping us really target those students and be effective with our time interventions.
And this last graph is really talking about summer programming, and I think you're going to hear more about that from Angela this evening. But we've been fortunate across many years of working with LearningWorks, which originally was Safe and Smart, and then also we were fortunate 4 years ago to be part of the schools in Portland that used the grant from John T. Gorman and started a summer school program. And so this graph is really showing you, when you look at Reiche, the bar on the left shows the spring scores and then the fall scores on NWEA. And it really shows where we begin and the impact that summer learning has on our students. Just a couple notes about summer school. We have 35 students in LearningWorks, and the past 4 years we've had 80 students that have been in the rising 1, 2, and 3 grades during the summer. And it's been so well received by parents and staff and students that it's now in our Title I plan and a part of just what we do to extend the school year. And this past year, for the first time, we were able to do a Jump Start program to really impact. We have kids that don't attend preschool, so it's a 5-week program for kids that haven't been in preschool to get that jump start for kindergarten. We're excited to do that again this last year. And on a funny note, and this I think really captures Reiche students and who we are as a school, the bus starts to pick up summer school kids on that first day, and the kids that we've invited show up. The second day we usually have 2 or 3 extras that arrive, and the third day, for the last 5 years, the third day we have a few more. And so the kids enjoy being at Reiche, and they look for programs to grow and to learn. And we've learned that we have a waiting list, and we don't let kids continue to stay. But I think it shows just the need we have for summer programming and the learning that our kids love to do. So questions or? Thank you. Oh, you have a question? Yeah.
Yes, so thank you for your presentation. Really appreciate that. I just had a question. On the slide that you showed us on the work that helped you narrow the gaps between your top achievers and your special ed. So you mentioned the collaborative work between teachers. Can you just give us a little bit more insight into more or less what got you to that? I mean, I'm obviously very interested in anything that'll help us narrow those gaps that we're seeing across the district?
So we do a couple of things. One is that grade level teams meet on a weekly basis, and that grade level team includes the classroom teachers, the special ed teachers, the L teachers, and so they do planning together. It's time to look at data, to plan together. The other thing we do is we have an L teacher that teams with, it depends on each grade level, but that teams with a classroom teacher always during math. So they bring that experience about what programming should look like for English language learners, and they collaborate in team, and so it's a professional development plus really working with kids around that. And then often on our early release days, we provide time for teachers to work together to look at data, to be talking about students, and to be talking about best practices for supporting our learners. Anything I missed? Is that?
That's about right.
John?
Thank you, and thank you for your work. I know it's such a special place, and thanks for making it so. You mentioned there's 10% homelessness among students. That's heartbreaking, stunning. How does that compare to more recent years? And do you know about comparisons district-wide?
In our elementary schools, I think Ocean Avenue and East End are the two that compare to us. And I think our numbers are pretty similar, or will be by June. What we try to do is place those students into, we have we try to spread it out so that no school is too burdened with a lot of churning. Ocean started the year taking those out-of-neighborhood students, and then East End, and now we're taking up the second half of the year. It's comparable for us. I'd say last year was maybe more like 8%, a little bit less.
I think we were 13, Chris, last year.
Last year?
We went up to 13.
By June, yeah, by June, 13%, but it creeps up across the year, so it's not under our control, but you know about the buildings that are being gentrified, and so we've had entire buildings where multiple families are out at one time. It's complex, yeah.
Any other questions?
Can I ask you guys a question? So how do you explain the difference between the Fontes and Pinnell performance and the NWA performance?
So I think a couple of things. One thing we're working on is really calibrating that to see, because they should be fairly similar, the two, and the NWA looks like our kids don't do as well as they do in Fontes and Pinnell. So part of that work is we're doing some calibration. I also think for some kids that relationship of sitting next to a teacher and reading has far more value than sitting in front of a computer. So I think it's both of those pieces. We've spent one of the first PDs looking at Fontes and Pinnell and how to analyze it and how to be more similar in terms of testing. One of the recent results that Learning Works showed, though, it looked like it was more similar than the one that we just did. And I also think the other piece is, I think a lot of it's relationships, but that is something we're watching to see. Why does the NWA not look like our kids are making the progress that they are on Fontes and Pinnell?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. Outstanding presentation, and always great to see the work that you guys do at Reiche. It's an amazing school, as everybody knows, and so thank you for all that you do. I'd like to turn it over to Sharon Prey, our interim chief academic officer. We are going to have a presentation on our summer school plans for this year, as well as an overview of our performance from last year. year. And so this is something that I know has been in front of the curriculum committee previously, and this is an opportunity for the whole board to have an understanding of the work that was done last year. You heard a little bit about it from Ms. Babinski as she talked about, the kiddos coming, and continuing to come and continuing to come. And so we'll hear a little bit about the program last year and also what our plans are for this year. So, Mrs. Pratt.
So first of all, I want to introduce Angela Atkinson-Dwina. She is currently our No Child Left Behind or Title I coordinator, and she has very kindly and graciously put together the summer learning report for last year as well as this year. So I want to give her the opportunity to talk about that report. You do have a copy of it, and then after she's completed her presentation, I'm going to talk a little bit about the program plans for this summer. So thank you, Angela.
All right. So I'm just going to start out with a reminder of our goals for summer learning. They do focus on decreasing summer learning loss. Of course, we hope they also increase, but we're really just looking to stop the summer slide. And around that, looking at increasing language and literacy acquisition. And for this past summer, we also tried to put a little bit more math into our programming and to increase numeracy skills. And then at the high school level, we're really working to ensure on-time graduation. There have been some other innovative programs to allow kids to start taking credits early, and so I'll mention those a little bit too. In 2016, the summer before, we had about 1,100 students who enrolled, and about 1,000 ended up coming to participate in our district-led and district partner programs. And district partner, for the most part, is LearningWorks. And of those participants, about 57% were our ELL students, 30% were students with disabilities, and 86% of participants received free or reduced lunch. Looking at where the funding comes, you do have a kind of pie chart graph in your report. About 15% comes from local funding. About 65% comes from our allocated federal funds from Title I and from Title III. And then another 20% for 2016 came from competitive grants. And that's not including our special education funding that comes from that. So right now we are kind of in the mode of applying for more competitive grants. And a few have come in, but not quite as much, not quite to the level that we had last summer or the summer before. Whenever we look at outcomes, we look both kind of broadly speaking and then also at individual program level. What you have in your report really looks at the broad level outcomes. So about 70% of the kids for at the early elementary levels maintained their reading level or increased. For those kids that participated. It goes down a little bit whenever we get into the upper elementary and middle level programming. So only around 60% of those kids are maintaining or increasing. Like I said, we tried to focus some on math for this past summer a little bit more. And so also in early elementary there, we saw about 70% of the kids maintaining or increasing. And then in upper elementary and middle level, that was about 50% of students maintaining or increasing their math scores. New to 2016 through our competitive grants was initial credits in health and PE that allowed students to take courses there. We had plus also initial credits in astronomy and geology, and we had about 76 students participate in those with a 72% success rate. Also, we had credit recovery. That isn't new, but I'm going to report out on that. We had 94 students participating in credit recovery and an 89% success rate there. Back to the new programming for 2016, we also did a summer book mailing project for the first time. The focus there, we knew our summer funding was decreasing, so we were looking for opportunities to expand our reach to kids who weren't actually able to or were not going to make it into our on-site program, and that we could still kind of help them sustain their reading levels or increase it over the summer, kind of at a low cost. So we looked at that program. We also expanded a tutoring program into LearningWorks, where Title I partners with LearningWorks and pays for a teacher to tutor kids who are not, who are kind of lower than some of the other students who go to LearningWorks in their reading. So that was kind of a combined effort. And LearningWorks kind of pays for the day program, and we pay for the expertise. I like to think about it around teaching. So I think it's a good partnership. We also expanded last year our kindergarten jumpstart program, and we used a Dreambox online math program to help put more math into our summer programming. For this year, we do know that we have a grant to expand Jumpstart at Ocean Ave, so that will continue to expand. We are looking for a summer program to address the needs of our youth at the family shelter in Portland too. We have a grant there, and we hope to be able to continue the summer book mailing program. We have a grant in there, and we don't know what the results of those are yet though. So Sharon might want to, did you want to talk any more about
I
that?
don't know if they have any questions.
Questions? Don't have any yet.
No one
All
has
right,
any
great.
questions for Angela? Okay, great. So you all have a handout outlining all of our summer programs that we plan on offering our students this summer. I'm not going to read it all to you, but the first 2 pages talks about the elementary schools that we will have open. And as you can see, there's going to be lots and lots of kids out there. I just saw Dr. Corsi come in, and I wanted to thank her for offering her facility to house the hall students for this summer, since, as you know, we're not going to be able to have that building open, as well as Lyseth. So Lyseth, we've decided we wanted to keep it closed this summer so that we can do some really deep cleaning and some painting and things like that. So we really appreciate that, Dr. Corsi, for having that opportunity. The Lyseth folks will be going out to Ocean, the administration, and they will be supporting Bev and her staff out there so that she doesn't have the full brunt of the oversight for that program. So as you can see, we're looking for 600 students to be enrolled for our elementary programs. At our middle school programs, we are hoping that we're going to be able to do some deep cleaning as well at Lincoln. So with our summer learning programs going on at King, as well as Moore Middle School, we're going to be doing some creative programming that'll be intensive 2 weeks, all-day programming, so that students, we think, we're going to try it to see if maybe they will attend for 2 weeks all day rather than a 5-week period of time for half a day. It's a challenge to get middle school kids to commit to a 5-week program. So we're hoping for 255 kids, and as well we're looking at Lincoln possibilities for 30 students as well. Even though they won't be on site, we're looking for other ideas for those students. And Deering will be housing the multilingual middle and high school programs this year. I wanted to thank Ira. I don't think he's here today, but that was very kind of him to offer that up so that we can do some cleaning at Lincoln. And the additional summer learning opportunities here are Bayside, of course, and then the University of Maine programs that we have funded. We've participated in the past. So we're looking at a total of 1,200 students that we are hoping that we can invite to our summer programs. And that's it for my report.
Questions, Sarah?
I know in the past, when we had we had a partnership with Connect Ed. Do they have any kind of connection anymore to our summer programming?
In terms of,
Well, I remember
like,
when we had-
starting strong or things like that?
Well, with the former mayor, it seemed to be an investment that was made through Connect Ed, and I remember partnering with them in some form of the summer programming, and I didn't see any mention to that, so I didn't know if there was any kind of conversation that...
They're in the
No.
process of hiring a new director. I don't know if you're...
Right.
So I think
Carter is
there's going to
gone
be
now.
a transition.
The only summer school program that I'm aware of that is, that involves Connect Ed is and I can't remember what the name of the actual program is, but it's where we have students that are going to SMCC.
Okay.
And getting some early college help. They're involved in extensive tutoring and mentoring, sort of in preparation and boot camp for the school year. So I know that's continuing this year as part of their post-secondary strategy, but I don't know if there's ever been any other additional, do you know?
There have been.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That was, there used to be and no longer is.
The Starting Strong program
Starting
is
Strong.
the grant that Ocean got to expand the kindergarten Jump Start
And
program.
that's
So that's kind of
connected.
part of that initiative.
Ms. Davis?
The USM Bridge program is indeed a legacy of the Connect Ed initial funding. That initial funding came to USM through the efforts of former Mayor Mike Brennan. And the programming at SMCC, which is similar for students who have graduated from our high schools but plan to enroll or are enrolling at SMCC or enrolling at USM, the SMCC programming will continue as well. Neither program, either at USM or at SMCC, received funding from Connect Ed. It's just Connect Ed was the impetus for other folks finding the funding to put those programs in place. This will be the third year at USM and the, I think, fourth year at SMCC. I think we were 1 year behind them, or maybe 2. So programs continue.
What's that?
Questions? Ms. Hatzenbuehler?
You mentioned that 1,200 students. Is that more than last year? You might have said that and I missed it.
It's probably about the same.
Okay.
We hope that we will get them all to come this year, because what happens is we find that they may show up for the first day and then they don't show up after that. So we're hoping that we will take a look at the way that we deliver our summer programming to be engaging enough so that students will come, you know, like
There's
what we're trying to
retention.
do for the middle school, you know, maybe the kids will come if it's just a 2-week commitment.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's about the same that we had anticipated last year, but like I said, it wasn't the amount of students that actually showed up, and you can tell, you can...
Yeah, I mean, it depends, you know, our attendance, you know, as you, earlier, it's pretty strong, and then it gets a little bit, goes down a little bit as you go up, but so that's something that we always work on. I don't know, I think these are kind of our estimates right now. Some of those are also what we target for enrollment, so that understanding that not everybody who enrolls is actually going to show up. And that's just the way it kind of works, so.
Thank you.
What's that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes my report.
Okay. Moving into report of the secretary, consideration and action to approve the meeting minutes of March 21st, 2017. Is there a motion? Ms. Bendel, seconded by Ms. Hatzenbuehler. Are there any questions on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, is there any public comment on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, is there any board discussion on the meeting minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the meeting minutes of March 21st, 2017, please indicate. It's unanimous with the students voting in the majority. report of committees, curriculum, Ms. Morioni asked me to hold off on that until our next meeting. So moving into operation. Oh, Mr. Rodriguez, did you have a report for the curriculum committee?
Yeah, actually, I have some notes I can read off from our last meeting. So the curriculum committee met on March 29th, mostly to celebrate my birthday, but also to hold an official committee meeting. We had a presentation from Katie Kemplin from Starting Strong, who joined the committee to talk about the pre-K research project that is currently underway. The results of the project will help guide the district in creating strategies to increase the pre-K opportunities and school readiness. Sharon Prey provided the committee with an update on the middle school math curriculum selection process. The middle school math teachers will be meeting on April 26th to talk about the next steps. They will provide a board presentation in May. Shannon Prey provided the committee with further information and answers to follow-up questions on policy IHCDA, post-secondary enrollment options, as requested by the Board of Public Education. Sharon Prey provided a list of policies that are cross-referenced with the graduation policy. The high school principals will review those policies, and recommendations will come back to the curriculum committee. Ira Waltz, principal of Deering High School, presented a proposal to add a senior capstone course at Deering High School. And also Sharon Prey provided an update on the proficiency-based diploma work in the district. Our next meeting is currently scheduled for April 11th, excuse me, but will be rescheduled to a later date in April. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Moving into operations, Ms. Davis.
The Operations Committee met on March 28th, and we reviewed a number of things, some of which you see on tonight's agenda, mainly the first read of the local wellness policy, and we were asked to consider, and we did not take any position on, but said to refer to the board the request regarding the reallocation of the CIP monies. The other items that we discussed at some length were the Sebago Technics Facilities Assessment Report, which is final. It was finalized at the end of February. We looked that over, also asked that as soon as possible, and meaning very soon, the Operations Committee would like to see a full presentation to the board by Sebago Technics and the Valley Brensinger of this document, and request that each board member, if they wish, be given a color copy, because the black and white copies, there's a lot of color coding in that report, and so the black and white copies that we've gotten, it is a very long report, but I think it is an important one. This report assessed the condition of our facilities, our schools, our central office, our kitchen. And this is the report that identified nearly $322 million worth of needs that we will be having to deal with over the next 20 years. So I think it's very important that the board, in addition to the Operations Committee, is conversant and understands this report. Generally, when we have a report, it comes to the board first and then goes to the committee. So I'm hoping that that will indeed be scheduled very soon, because we're beginning, like the CIP and some other issues, to consider issues which are facilities related. And the board requested this work, and I would like to be able to have the board fully conversant with it so that our decisions are grounded in this work. So the other thing that we asked for, and we'll see this to some extent on tonight's agenda in the workshop as well, is we asked for a presentation by La Valley Brensinger of the applications to the state for school construction, because we wanted to hear directly from our consultants about those applications so that we could come to understand them. We were going to be asked to sign off on them, and so we asked to have that as well. Our next meeting is scheduled for May 9th, I believe. Not seeing one in April. I think possibly we got bumped around by vacation and other things. So we're scheduled for May 9th at 6 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Finance, Ms. Hatzenbuehler.
Thank Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to note, just housekeeping kind of a thing, in the back of tonight's agenda, it indicates upcoming committee meetings. It says that there's a meeting tomorrow night presenting the budget to the council, which that has been canceled, that meeting. Also, in the back of the budget book, there are the finalized list of meetings for that could potentially be added to agendas if need be. But this is the accurate and up-to-date information. I will read the memo to Chair Trevorrow as an update to the work that we've been doing on the budget. The Finance Committee completed its review of the superintendent's proposed budget at our meeting on March 30th. The committee made amendments as noted below, well, it's in the book, and recommended approval of the amended FY 2018 budget by the Board of Education. At our May 9th meeting, we reviewed the proposed expenditure and reviewed budgets, and also reviewed the multi-year budget projections in compliance with Policy DA. Committee members also requested and received additional information on some items. On March 16th, we held a public hearing and then discussed various amendments to reduce the tax impact of the budget below 5%. On March 23rd, we held a joint session with the City Finance Committee where they requested a tax increase of no more than 2.5%. On March 30th, we discussed the second round of budget reductions and took action on a recommended budget. In order to bring the tax impact to 2.5%, the superintendent proposed more than $3.9 million in cuts, with only a 1.1 increase in expenditures over FY 2017, and recommended adding an additional $1 million in EPS revenue. We voted 2-1 in favor of recommending the FY 2018 budget as shown in the attached information in the book. The anticipated loss in state revenue, coupled with the city's recommendation of limiting the tax increase to 2.5%, impacted the district's ability to make targeted investments. This budget has significant cuts and makes no additional investment in our comprehensive plan. With these factors in mind, we have accomplished our goal of creating a fiscally responsible budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Policy, Legislative, and Public Affairs, Ms. Seeliger.
Thank you, Chair. Our next policy meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 11th at 5:30 at City Hall Council Chambers, which is this room. That's the end of my report. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other committee and/or member concerns? Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. Chair Trevorrow mentioned myself and Ms. Morioni being at the National School Board Conference. We spent just about a week out there and had a great time, learned a lot. There's a lot of information to bring back. I think we were calling the superintendent all excited about various things that we were learning that day. And bottom line is we learned a lot, so thank you for letting us go. And then under member concerns, I just want to voice for myself that I spoke with the superintendent today about adding a workshop, and when I realized there wasn't one between the first read and the vote. But I'm concerned that we added it at the last minute tonight. We have a board member that didn't receive any notification about it and is off with a family engagement, and also we've not provided any public notice. So I'm concerned. We got the information last night, additional information. I did make some notes, and that's how I tried to digest today just what was going on. But my concern, adding a workshop on the fly and not having it potentially tomorrow night or Thursday is very concerning to me. So, thank you.
Would the superintendent like to address that?
Again, we are working really hard to try to provide the information that you ask for when you ask for it. We decided to add that workshop today because we know that we have board members here and we're here, so we will be happy to stay and provide that workshop. I'll be happy to have another workshop tomorrow. I'll be happy to have another workshop on Thursday. I'll be happy to have another workshop on Friday. You name it, we'll be there. We don't want anybody feeling that their questions are not being answered. So I'm more than happy to add additional workshops at any time that, the board finds it convenient to them.
Ms. Davis?
I wanted to report on the Hall Building Committee, Hall School Building Committee. We met on March 15th. I'm glad to report that we have planning board approval and the bid process is underway. And I would like to schedule in probably our next meeting the opportunity to actually set up and present to you the drawings as they presently are, so that you can see what our new school at the Hall School location will look like. It is funded largely by the state, about $28 million from the state, about $1.4 from us. It really is a wonderful thing to have watched over time actually get to this point where you can really visualize the outside, visualize what's inside, and really see the kind of school that you can get when we collaborate with our partners at the state. So I would request that we find time. I have the presentation, that we find time and get it set up possibly at our next meeting so that the board and the public can see what that new school is going to look like. In the meantime, if folks are curious, if you do go to the city's website and the Hall School Building Committee information there, you should find that presentation has been posted and you can get a sneak peek at what that school is going to look like.
Thank you, and we will work to get that on the agenda for an upcoming meeting. Any other committee and/or member concerns? Seeing none, moving into consent items. Would the superintendent please read the items into consent?
Yes, Madam Chair. Lyseth Elementary School received money to purchase books for all kindergarten to third grade students from the Rotary Club of Portland. Thank you, Rotary Club. Lyseth Elementary School also received a donation to support their food pantry from the Cumberland County Federal Credit Union of Portland. Thank you. Reiche Elementary School received a grant along with matching scholastic reading bonus points to purchase books for the library from James Patterson and the Scholastic Reading Club of New York, New York. East End Community School received knitted hats and gloves from June Watson of Westbrook. Thank you, Ms. Watson. And East End also received pastries for their fundraiser from Two Fat Cats of Portland. Thank you.
And there is no old business this evening. We have several first reads. First read on FY18 budget. First read to revise policy JL, local wellness. First read to request that the city manager reallocate $1.2 million in his recommended CIP funds to be targeted for Casco Bay High School's renovation/construction of the great room/new entrance. And D, first read to authorize the board chair and superintendent to sign a contract with Munis to provide software services at a cost that will not exceed $500,000. There are no personnel items. There is no board focus on educational issues. And where it is before the hour of 10 o'clock, we would take public comment on any items not on this evening's agenda. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the board? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment and call for a motion to adjourn. Ms. Hatzenbuehler, seconded by Ms. Vendel. All those in favor? It's unanimous with the students voting in the affirmative.